I also want to say thanks to these three for helping us out throughout the year. They've been very helpful. One of the first things they teach us in the Navy is the word Navy actually stands for never again volunteer yourself. I'm volunteering here, so. My story is called The Helicopter. Navy life on a ship on deployment is long and arduous. The job at hand is routine and mostly unappreciated, certainly by anyone who matters. Long, long hours practicing drills, performing maintenance, cleaning the ship. Passageways and decks just get dirty over and over again. Cleanliness is relative if you think about it. The ship's crew is always training, so that if something happens, we will know what to do. Mostly that if rarely happens, and months and years go by with only training to be training.
I'm not sure.
Today, however, was not one of those days. The officer of the deck received an incoming radio transmission. A French helicopter working with Allied forces in Desert Storm has just lost an engine and needs an emergency landing at sea. USS Spokane is the closest and most available landing pad and is urgently tasked with aiding in the rescue. I do not know how long a helo can remain in flight with a lost engine, but from the urgency of the message, it probably wasn't very long. It's also safe to say that the country of Iran isn't a favorite landing spot. In preparation to embark a helo, a ship is required to position itself such that a specific relative wind direction and wind speed must be achieved across the stern of the ship. As is protocol for these emergency situations, the captain is requested to come to the bridge and typically relieves the officer of the deck to handle the situation. As we're waiting for the captain to arrive, I hurriedly began the calculations for the ship to maneuver so that we would achieve the correct relative wind speed and wind direction to land the helicopter. It is clear from the start that everyone is watching us. The battle group commander is regularly contacting us for updates to see how we're progressing. Just listening to the pacing of the conversation and the tone of voice of the helicopter pilots tells me they are very stressed. Apparently, their alternative is to crash into the sea. I am sad to report to the newly arrived captain that the required course and speed for USS Spokane to meet these calculations is full speed ahead, pointing directly at a known mine. During Iraq Part 1, one of the U.S. Navy's top threats were these floating Iraqi mines deployed across the entire Persian Gulf. Believe it or not, they look exactly like the ones shown on the old TV show Gilligan's Island, where the mine is a beach ball-sized ball with protruding tentacles floating on the water surface. Hard to believe this warfare is being used in 1991, where more sophisticated technology now allowed for the mines to be tethered to the sea floor, where they could hide and allow for better impact point upon unsuspecting ships. An explosion beneath the spine of a ship is much more damaging than a contact hit at the waterline. My calculations were re-verified, and the chain-smoking captain agrees we must proceed. He is a man of few words, tending to moan or grunt rather than actually speaking full sentences. He is nervous on nearly all occasions, and not an easy guy to get to know or to like. I do not know his age, but his silver hair and deep facial lines make him look 60+ years old. However, his rank of commander and graduation year hint that he is likely only in his mid-40s. I loudly and clearly give the orders to the helmsman to proceed at the calculated course and speed. We try to calm tensions of our audience as we radio message command and control they were soon to be ready to take the helo on board. It is easy to see the mine in the distance, straight in front of us, because a U.S. helicopter is hovering above it, and they are tethering down an explosive ordnance disposal guy on top of the mine. His purpose is to place a shape charge on the mine's exterior, and soon thereafter to detonate the mine intentionally, thereby removing the threat. Meanwhile, our ship is steaming directly towards it at full speed. In my head and in everyone's mind is the nagging question: will we make our targeted course in time to rescue the helo, or will we hit the mine? 370 U.S. sailors versus 5 French helicopter pilots. The captain would be making that decision for me, thankfully, but it didn't make me feel that much more comfortable. The crew of 10 or so on the bridge were all silent of all conversations, except those communications with the nervous command and control. When we reach the required ship speed, we proceed to communicate with the helo to begin embarkation. Unlike a car, we have no rearview mirrors, so we regularly ask for updates from the crew on the fantail on our progress. Communication is now almost continuous, as we are either updating command and control, or communicating back and forth with the crew on the fantail, or communicating with the helicopter pilots. Bizarrely, it is a challenge to keep our focus on the mine directly in front of us. It's like we're all so busy talking about something, the thing itself is strangely secondary. Maybe it is our own way of dealing with the pressure of the situation. We're just kind of blocking out any thoughts that life might be over soon. Surely the old man knows what he's doing. Part of me knows this guy doesn't take risks. Another part of me knows that he's such a lifer, he might lose rational thought in pursuit of the infamous needs of the Navy. Soon enough, we have our answer. The fantail reports the helicopter is landed and securely chained to the deck. Following our predetermined plan, I give the order loudly and clearly, left full rudder. The helmsman turns the wheel-like helm counterclockwise as hard and as fast as he possibly can turn. The ship immediately and dramatically keels over to the left. Everything that's been placed on any flat surface, like plotting equipment, pencils, chart plotting tools, coffee cups, papers, jackets, gear, all are now being jettisoned to the floor. It feels like the deck beneath our feet is at a 45-degree angle, like a scene from a Hitchcock movie or The Twilight Zone. I know we aren't going to capsize, but it feels like we might. Everyone on the bridge is now reaching for something stable to hold on to, just to keep from falling. The quartermaster of the watch, a very large guy at 6 feet tall and 230-something pounds, does take a half stumble. At the last moment, he does manage to grab a chart table to prevent a complete fall. I myself am grabbing onto the large podium that holds our ship's compass just to keep standing upright. As we steady out and resume our base course and speed, the captain gives me the officer of the deck duties back. His congratulations are brief and concise as usual. Good job, he says. Then he heads back to his cabin. Back to business as usual.